Saint Ignat. Hi viewers, welcome to Akshaya Vlogs and Crafts. Now I'm going to tell the story of Saint Ignat. Let's go into the story. Story of Saint Ignat. Ignat was the grandson of Saint Barnabas. Lord Whittle was their family deity, and Ignat also worshipped Whittle from childhood. As Ignat was born in a family of saints, he inherited bhakti towards Whittle from his family members. He learned the sastras from his father till he was about 12. He then wanted to go to a Sadguru and learn sastras under him. Eknath wanted to get a good guru and prayed Vittal to guide him to one. Vithoba then came on his dream and asked him to request Janatana Swami to be his guru. Janatana Swami was a great yogi. He had his ashram in a forest. Eknath felt that if he informs his parents, they will not let him go, and so one day went to Janatana Swami's ashram without informing them. He joined the ashram and started serving his guru. He served his Sadguru for 12 years. There were several kids like him who had joined the ashram. Some came to study the sastras and were studying them. Some came to study yoga basam like yamam, niyamam, asanam, prayanamam, and they studied that. Some were given mantra badesams and they chanted the mantras. Students who learned the sastras took permission from the guru and left him once they learnt it well enough so that they could go to the outside world and do discourses. Students who learnt yoga basanam took leave of their guru once they realized that they had now got the siddhi. Those who took mantrabadesam from him also took leave of him after the realization of those gods. While so many students joined the ashram, learnt what they wanted and left, Eknath was just serving his guru. Janatana Swami also did not teach him anything and just asked him to take care of the ashram. Eknath's daily work was that he would get up early in the morning, clean the ashram, milk the cows, take care of the visitors, make food for the sadhus, buy provisions from the village, take care of his guru's requirements, and then check the accounts before going to sleep in the night. He has only been doing this for the last 12 years in this ashram. One night, Eknath was checking the accounts as usual. He found that there was 1 paisa missing in the account, and he had excess in hand. He was breaking his head to find out what happened. This was because he felt all the work he was doing in the ashram was Guru Seva and that he should be correct in that. As he was awake till night, late in the night, his guru came to see what he was doing. Eknath didn't realize that his guru was standing behind as he was thinking deeply about reconciling the accounts. Janatana Swami understood that he is checking accounts and went back to his place. He again came at midnight to see if he was done with it, but saw that he was still working on it and went back. Around 2 a.m., Eknath emotionally shouted, "Gurunatha, I found it," as he had reconciled the accounts. Janatana Swami immediately got up, went to him and asked him what he had seen. Eknath immediately apologized for waking him up and said that an entry for the 1 paisa was missing and that he had found it. As soon as the Guru heard this, his eyes were filled with tears and told him that there were so many Sishyas who had come here and found so many great things. And after serving me for 12 years, you are happy that you have found 1 paisa. Janatana Swami then said that he is now indebted to him for having taken care of him and the ashram for all these years. He then went back to sleep. Janatana Swami's deity was Dattatreya, and he requested him to give darshan to Eknath, and Dattatreya agreed to his request. The next day, Eknath went to Godavari river to have his bath as usual. After completing his bath, he would bring water from the river to the ashram. On his way back, Dattatreya gave him his darshan in godly form. The 4 Vedas stood next to him as 4 dogs. Dharma Devata stood behind him as a bull. Eknath, on seeing him, prostrated to him. Dattatreya then blessed him, and Eknath came back to the ashram and started doing his work as usual. Janatana Swami came and saw what Eknath was doing, and he found him boiling the milk. He then thought that he doesn't look like someone who has had the darshan of God. The state of a person who has realized and seen God would be different, and they would be in deep meditation, sometimes crying or smiling, and would not look like normal persons to the outside world. Janatana Swami was now wondering if the god had given him darshan or not. Janatana Swami was now really confused and asked Eknath if he had seen anything this morning. Eknath then told him when he was returning from the river he saw his guru's deity standing under the tree and that he had worshipped him. Janatana Swami was further perplexed and told him that there are so many rishis trying to realize God for so many janmas, and after having realized God, how he could continue with his regular work. Eknath then replied to him that his guru was everything to him and that he was happy to see his form of God rather than the form he saw in the morning. Hearing this, Janatana Swami was moved. Janatana Swami then asked him to go back to his parents, get married, and lead a family life. Eknath hesitated as he didn't want to leave his guru, but Janatana Swami told him that he would realize his presence wherever he was. This consoled Eknath and he returned home. Eknath reached home and his parents were very happy to see him again. He then told them that he went to be a student of Janatana Swami and that he has now asked him to get married and serve his parents. Eknath then got married and lived with his family. He would spend his day in the service of God. He translated a lot of Sanskrit books in Marathi for the common man to read. Eknath Bhagavatam and Eknath Ramayana are even today available and are being widely read in Maharashtra. He conducted discourses every day about God. In the evening, he would perform bhajans and kirtans. He also composed several abhangs. He also sang about saints like Namadev, Jnaneshwar, and Janabai. He would invite sadhus to his house for food every day, give him food, and then only have his food. As his family was rich, he didn't have to go for any work and would devote all his time to the service of Vittal. Eknath's neighbor was envious with him and was saying everyone that he didn't know Sanskrit and was scribbling something in Marathi without knowing about the Granthas, and he is writing about. Eknath never bothered about what others said and would continue to do his work thinking it was Vittal's Leela. Once, while writing about Uddhava in Bhagavata, he got into a transcendental state and fell down. His neighbor saw him in an unconscious state with a note about Uddhava in his hand. He immediately understood that he had underestimated Eknath and waited for him to come back to consciousness and apologized to him and asked him to make him his Shishya. One day when he was reading Bhagavata, a 12-year-old boy came to him, prostrated to him and asked him to make him his Shishya as he wanted to learn Vedas from him. Eknath asked who he was and where does he come from. He replied to him that his parents were no more and that he considered Eknath as his mother, father, guru and God. He said that he was from Dwaraka and his name was Kandya Krishnan. Eknath accepted him as a Shishya and looked after him as his own son. Krishna was very smart and learnt everything easily. He took care of all the needs of his guru and served him well. He did all the services to his guru, right from washing his clothes, cleaning his puja vessels, cleansing his puja room, preparing garlands for his god, etc. He would also serve his guru Mata by getting vegetables from the market, bringing water from the Godavari, etc. One day, Eknath was performing his ancestral rituals. Two outcasts happened to pass by his house and understood that a feast was being prepared. They were discussing that it would be good if they could get his food. Eknath, on listening to these discussions, called them and gave them food that was being prepared. They were happy with him, thanked him, and then left. The other Brahmins who had come for the ceremony left the place on seeing this. All Brahmins in the village on seeing this started speaking ill about him for giving the food that was prepared for ancestral ceremony to some outcast before completing the ceremony. They all spoke to each other and decided that Eknath should be punished for his deed of his. All the Brahmins in the village then came to Eknath and asked him how he could do this in spite of learning Shastras. Eknath then said he gave them food as they were hungry and hunger doesn't have any caste difference and hence decided to feed them. He also said the Shastras say that Annadanam can be given to anyone and there was no caste discretion on that. They then said that none of the Brahmins in the village would mingle with him and not have any contact with him and his family from now on. Eknath now had to prepare food again for the ceremony and perform the ceremony. Eknath was now worried that he would not be able to feed the Brahmins after the ritual is over, as no one would come to his house now. Kandya Krishnan then told Eknath that if Brahmins were not available, the Shastras say that they could give it to kurcham, a type of holy dried grass used in religious ceremonies. Eknath then started performing the rituals, and when he kept the one first kurcham, Vittal came and sat down to have the food. As soon as he came, other gods and his forefathers who were called during the ceremony came down and took the food directly. Kandya Krishnan was watching all this happening and smiling at Eknath. Once it got over, they blessed Eknath by reciting holy mantras and disappeared. His neighbors heard the chanting of holy mantras and thought that some Brahmins from neighboring villages would have come without knowing what had happened with Eknath and were waiting for them to come out of the house so they could warn them and advise them not to go to his house. After some time, Eknath came out of the house. The Brahmins asked him who had come for lunch and he was quiet. They then said that they heard some people reciting some mantras. Kandya Krishnan then asked them what their problem was and said no one had come. The Brahmins then left and thought that Eknath and Krishnan would have chanted the mantras in some different voices to fool them. It was almost 1 year since they had given this punishment to Eknath. He then went to the Brahma Samaj and said that he was ready to do whatever pariharam, doing penance, to clear the mistake he had done by feeding the outcasts. The Brahmin then told him that they would discuss among themselves and come back to him on the same. They got together and started preparing a list of things to be done as per their wish. One said he has to make a gold cow, gift it to someone. Another one said he has to gift land, and another said he has to give a house. Like this, each one came up with whatever they wished, and this list was given to Eknath. Eknath then felt that he would use all his wealth and perform the list of pariharams given by the Brahmins. The Brahmins were now happy that Eknath will now gift all his wealth to them, and Kandya Krishna was thinking how to teach them a lesson. Krishna tried to tell his guru that they were cheating him and planning to acquire all his wealth in the name of pariharam, but did not agree. The Brahmins were performing the rituals and Eknath was doing the sankalpam. It was noon and a leper came inquiring about Eknath. The Brahmin stopped him and asked him who he was. He then said that he came from Triambakeshwara and wanted to see him. They then asked him why he wanted to see him. The leper said that he had come to do some pariharam from him. The Brahmins then told him that they were doing pariharam even for Eknath and asked the leper to do it for them. The leper then said that they would not be able to do it for him and only Eknath could perform prayachittam for him. The leper said that he has done several pariharams from many people and has taken holy dips in many holy rivers, but nothing has cured his leprosy. Just then Krishna came and asked him what had happened. The leper said that he went to Triambakeshwar and prayed to Lord Shiva. He said that he asked him to cure his leprosy, failing which he would commit suicide by jumping in the Godavari river. He then said that Lord Shiva came in his dream and asked him to take the Pada Tirtham, water taken by cleaning the feet of saint of Eknath, and it was the only cure for him. As soon as he said this, Krishnan told him that it was his guru whom he was mentioning and took him to Eknath. The ceremonies were still going on and leper asked Eknath for his Pada Tirtham. Eknath then told him that he was not such a great person and refused his request. The leper then told him that it was Lord Triambakeshwarar who has asked him to do this and that he should not refuse. When Eknath heard this, it was the wish of Lord Shiva, he agreed to it. The leper then performed Pada Puja for Eknath and consumed the water. As soon as he drank his water, his body became normal and leprosy has vanished. The Brahmins were astonished to see this. Krishnan then looked at the Brahmins and asked if they at least now understood the greatness of Eknath. The Brahmins now didn't have the guts to continue with their pariharams they were doing, and Krishnan was happy that Eknath's wealth was saved. There was a Brahmin who was very pious. He set out on a yatra to visit all the holy places, and wherever he went, the deity in the temple would speak to him because of his bhakti. One day he went to Dwaraka, the deity here, Kalyanarayar, did not give him darshan or speak to him. He felt that the Kalyanarayan was not there and was only the statue that was there. After some time, he thought that he didn't have enough bhakti and that it was why God did not speak to him. He decided to be on fast till he gets a reply from him. After fasting for 12 days, Lord Krishna came on his dream and said there he was in Pradisthanapuram, now Python, doing service to Eknath as a Shishya for the past 12 years. He then told him that he can have his darshan if he comes there. He also asked him to do service to Eknath instead of wandering all over India. The next morning, the Brahmin got up and started going to Pradisthanapuram. He reached Python and inquired where Eknath's house was and came to meet him. Eknath was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. The Brahmin prostrated to him and asked him where Krishna was. Eknath thought that he was asking about Kandiya Krishna and told him that he had gone to Godavari and would be back soon. Eknath thought that the Brahmin was related to Krishna and had come to see him. He also asked him to be seated till he comes back. Krishna then returned from Godavari with some water but did not say anything to the Brahmin. Eknath was surprised why both of them didn't recognize each other. He then asked the Brahmin if he saw Krishna going inside the house. The Brahmin then told him that he was looking for Lord Krishna and not this Krishna, and also explained to him what had happened in Dwaraka. Eknath, on hearing this, ran to the house searching for Kandiya Krishna, but only the vessels in which he fetched water were there. But Krishna had disappeared. He searched for him all over the house and started crying. He cursed himself for not being able to recognize God when he was there with him. He could not perform any work as everything reminded him of Krishna only. He went to a samadhi state and was thinking only about God. The Brahmin who came now started serving Eknath. One day, Eknath decided to go on a yatra and he set out on a yatra with a few others who joined him. They went to places like Kasi, Prayagai, Vrindavan, Ayodhya, Madhura, etc. Eknath performed bhajans and pravachans wherever he went. When they finished the yatra and returned to Python with Ganga Tirtham, they got stuck in a place where there was no water, and all of them were thirsty. Even though they had water in the hand, they did not use that as it was Ganga Tirtham, and that it was supposed to be used only for religious purpose and not for quenching thirst. They then found a donkey lying down in an unconscious state due to thirst and heat. Seeing the donkey dying, Eknath felt bad and moved forward to give his Ganga Tirtham to it so to prevent it from dying. The others who were with him said that he should not do that as this water was supposed to be used only for religious purpose. Eknath then said that there was no better deed than saving the life of someone and that he would give it to the donkey and save it from death. Hearing this, the others left him behind and started moving forward as they didn't approve of his action. Eknath then gave the water to the donkey. As Eknath was feeding the donkey, it turned out to be Vittal. He then prostrated to Vittal and asked him why he did this lila. Vittal then told him that he wanted to show the world that Eknath sees every living being in this world as Vittal and hence did this lila. Eknath then returned back home. The end. Thank you viewers. Like பண்ணுங்க, share பண்ணுங்க, subscribe பண்ணுங்க. Bye bye.